Okay, well, welcome into the room. This is what happens in showbiz, right?
I explain it in satellite terms. So
Yes. Okay, so for our viewing audience, I'm going to read your bio.
no,
No, okay, I won't read all of it. It's so impressive, though. How can you? Okay. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. And we have our special guest who actually is with the United States Space Force Department of the Air Force, Miss Roslyn A. Barbee. She's a fellow Los Angeles native, and she's also her sister sororities, AKA. But to go over her resume, or not resume at this moment, but her bio, I'm just going to go over. Hi, okay, Mikey, okay, hi,
that's
okay.
okay.
They're showing up. Okay, Miss Roslyn Barbee is a senior acquisitions logistician for Launch Enterprise, serving within assured access to space missions, operating a multi-billion-dollar space logistics acquisitions life cycle program. With over 35 years of experience as product support manager, logistics and avionics and electronics maintenance chief warrant officer, a director of training and workforce development, as well as an executive officer at the 4-star level. She continues to bring a wealth of knowledge of the U.S. Space Force, Department of Air Force. Ms. Barbee's commitment is focused on enhancing the mission of assured space logistics operations through superior product, support supply chain reliability, system security and integrity, risk management, control, contractual surveillance, and sustainment responsibilities. As a steward of the taxpayers' dollars, she ensures a collaborative working relationship with government and commercial space industries is effective to ensure best practices are shared on common missions requirements using program evaluations, methods, and quality control and practice. A seasoned and proven professional leader and mentor, Ms. Barbee's results-driven approach hones in on employee engagement, identifying developmental and training needs of the workforce to align with missions requirements to best enhance the productivity and career development of the workforce. Ms. Barbee also demonstrates the ability to drive diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, DEIA, innovation with organization finding with new solutions and implementing new programs, which leads to highly motivated and engaged teams that consistently deliver superior results.
Wow.
Shall I go on? Can I go on?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll let her continue the rest. Okay, English, please. I'm Russ. I'm short bus friend. She's a rock star. Oh, yes.
All right. So I appreciate this opportunity. I'm not really into most of everyone that knows me knows that I am not on social media. I'm not really into that, and the reason is because there's some complications with that, right?
Right, as we seen today.
But it's all good. And because, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I am so humbled because I normally wouldn't do this, right? But you're
well. I'm really humbled that you did this. Thank you.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. But because I think you're cool, and I think that
thank you.
That is important to me,
right.
As well as just our young people and
yes.
the young people.
Yes.
Important. So again, I'm humbled. I'm excited.
Oh,
Get it. Let's get it on. I'm ready.
all righty, all righty, all righty. So, when I read your background, and it's so rare that we get an opportunity to meet, one, to see a woman, and then someone who is of our culture. That in itself, I was excited. Knowing that, being African American, and when you first started, how old were you when you realized, okay, this is the career path that I would like to go into? Did it happen when you were in school as a child? Was there anybody that you admired, that was into avionics or space or anything such as that?
Oh, I appreciate that. No. So the big the real answer is I don't have a feel good story. Oh, wow, my dad was an engineer and my mom was a rocket scientist.
Okay.
That's what made Barbie. That's
Okay.
the story I have.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
what I do know is that I grew up in South Central LA, under a single mom household. It's a Catholic school in the beginning. Had 3 older brothers. Ended up going to school where I was a hood rat. It's just the way it was. I had to walk maybe a mile and a half to school and back because they didn't have Twinkies floating around. Twinkies are the school bus, right? Yellow school bus.
Oh, okay.
Around the school, so you have to walk. And you walk through different sets or different
neighborhoods.
And so, you throw out a line, whatever could get you from Hoover to Western on 120, 124th. That's how you roll, right? So,
right.
So that's what happened. I think the most devastating thing that ever happened to me was I had long hair because I'm biracial, and some young ladies that was from another set. I was on the Crip side, they were on the Blood side. They cut off my ponytail, like right in the corridor, and they just said,
wow.
"Oh, either you're black, you white, and black girls don't have long hair," and got my little ponytail cut off. But then I the brothers that handled that with with the young ladies who handled that, and so
right.
And so that's that. So the only other thing I think that motivated me was because you just are supposed to. You're lucky if you finish junior high school without being pregnant. You finish high school,
right?
And that's not stereotypical. That's the way.
Right. That's how it was.
And if you're lucky to already have that path or an ideal, go to college. But college is not for everyone.
Right.
So,
right.
And sometimes our society says, oh, well, if you can't do anything else, go to the military. Well, that's not, the military doesn't want, the bottom of the barrel. Because that's why you have to test and you have to have some kind of attitude. And it's just the test that the military ASVAB test. That test allows you to say, okay, well, maybe I'm great in math, but I'm not creative, or I don't understand dimensions, or hey, I have logic and rational thinking, but I don't read well. That allows you to do that, which is why I think all high schoolers should take the test. I mean, the recruiters don't come to your door. The recruiter might not really want you, but
right.
But it's important to take those aptitude tests. For your own child's self-awareness, right?
Right.
But getting back to that, there was a principal, a high school principal. And then I ended up going to another school right at the end. But there was a principal that says, hey, you look like a leader and act like a leader. And you could either be the leader of this campus, right? And everybody's intimidated by you or want to fight you or whatever. You the leader on a campus on the prison yard. or you could be a leader on the campus at corporate America.
Mm.
You get a vote in that. So
Right.
find what your niche is, and don't let anybody else define it. And
Right.
so that was interesting because I don't know who you think you're talking to.
Right.
Me, but
So
it was in my head.
he was putting it in head.
Right. So because there's some wisdom in there, I just, was trying to be hard and whatever. And
Right.
he said to go see the math teacher. And I went to the math lab just because I happened to be walking by there, even though I really needed to go because he told me to go.
Right.
My own way, I went.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
And the lady that was the math tutor said, math is one of the only subjects that no one can discriminate against you. Because math is about rules, and the same rules are in Chinese, that are in Swahili, that are in Farsi, that are in Spanish. It's the same rules. 2 + 2.
That's a very perceptive viewpoint that teacher had to tell you that, because I've never heard anybody put it that way.
There you go. And so potato is subjective. His story is subjective, but math is definitive. And she said, the rules of the street, why don't you understand the rules of math? And I was like, who are you talking to? But
but she had to force, she was speaking into your life. That's what she was doing.
That part.
She was speaking, yeah.
And so then I just went by, when it was convenient. I went by the math lab, and it happened to be like every day. And she just showed me little tricks of math. And I was like, this is so easy. You step math, you just keep adding the rules together. And before you know it, here I am in differential equations. I'm doing calculus because she explains how you could beat a speeding ticket with calculus. Oh, what?
Right. Okay, so she was very instrumental in not only speaking to your life, but explaining how math could affect your whole entire world, basically. And then, so from that point on, after you graduated from high school, is that when you went into the military, or was it after you went to, how did you end up in the military?
Oh, so that's a fair question. So then I used to dance on Soul Train. I used to do all of and skating on Venice Beach, and I used to be a ballerina. And I okay with all of that. I wasn't great at all of that because I didn't really have the family dynamics, the support behind it. Like, because it's just the way it was. My mom was busy, my very busy. My brothers had all gone away, and I was just. But because I had improved so much in math, and then I applied myself in school, but I didn't have great. I just said, "Oh, well, you just follow the rules, and you see your GPA, and you see people come into your life, right? People care,
right."
So I was like, "Oh, I gotta apply to college," because I just wanted to go. I just wanted to go, right? So I applied for all these different schools, and I ended up, I knew if I stayed in California, I was going to major in biology. I knew it. So I got it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say you was going to major in what?
I knew that if I stayed in California, I was going to major in partiology.
Oh.
I knew. Yeah. So, really good schools. And it made whole minority thing, come from South. Hey, check the box. But I didn't want to go anywhere where it was cold, and a lot of the schools were back east. So I also for Arizona State University, and I applied for aerospace engineering. And the reason why is because there was this the space shuttle was out, and I had gotten a poster of the space shuttle, and I was like, man, that's so cool. And the fact that when I was kind of inquiring about what is aerospace engineering and what is all that, they, oh, there's Black women in that. What?
Made you stand out like a superstar.
so, so I got accepted to Arizona State University aerospace engineering, and my dad and my stepmom, who I call my mom too, but they just drove me out there in a big old giant motorhome and dropped off, and it was they left. They hit the Route 66 and they were gone on vacay. And I was, okay, what's now?
Right.
First day of school, I'm gonna digress for a minute, but the first day of school, because I got a little apartment and it was really great school. But the first day of school, it was 118 degrees and the cement melted my little flip-flops.
Oh, that's, yeah, because it gets really hot. It gets really hot there. Really hot there. So you weren't prepared for that kind of heat.
Yeah. And I think about, girl, you're on your own.
That's funny. So
started that. What was interesting is then as I was going into my aerospace engineering classes, I was one deep. It was me. And they have study groups and they have and people gravitate to their own, right? So but there were no Black girl magic groups anywhere.
Right. So you started one?
Right. So there were some.
It was the only thing to do, right?
Right. So so that was interesting because then okay, you got to figure this out. And I'm grateful now looking back at it is that I had that teacher talking about math is just a bunch of steps. Just keep adding steps to it. Just make sense, and just keep and following rules. All right. Fast forward, and it was time for me to get ready to graduate and do an internship. And I had that 3.697 GPA. I didn't have that, and so I couldn't get the internships with Motorola and those kind of companies. I didn't have that kind of leverage or clout. And then I found out that there was already a Black lady with NASA working on the space shuttle. So I was like, oh man, she took my job.
But there's always more room. There's room for you.
All right, so then I happened. I think it was my cousin was dating an Army recruiter. I think Angie, you were dating somebody. I think Angie was dating a Army recruiter, and I was like, I don't know what it's like to go to the Army, and he was like, what the hell? And I said, I can handle it. I had gone to the Sheriff Academy, the LA County Sheriff Academy, did that little program just to see. What it was, prove that I had Anyway, so I was like, okay, well, I'm a hood rat, so I already know how to fire a weapon. I already know how to run. I already know how to fight.
You already got your basic training. You already had you had some of a basic training already growing up in South Central. So that was just extra, actually.
And then
wow.
Right. I took that test and I found out what aptitudes I had that were great and what didn't. Before you know it, I joined, right? And none of my friends believed me. My cousins didn't believe me. My god sister and my godparents didn't believe me, but I just needed to do me. I needed to do me. Whatever he was, I just needed to do it.
And you found you not only did you found out all what was inside of you, because here you are. I mean, you're chief. That's chief.
Yeah. So
so let me ask you this, and in your journey, even in college. And in Arizona specifically, because Arizona has been known to be, it's been known to be somewhat racist from what I hear. How was that during the time when you were coming along in school in a specific the field that you was majoring in? I mean, what was the relationship with you and your instructors? How did they interact with you? Were they supportive, or were they, like felt threatened by you and fellow students? Or they were just...
That's interesting. So I think at some point in time, you have to just accept the fact that, one, you're not the smartest person in the room, but you're not the dumbest either.
Right, exactly.
I think you have to get over that. You have to be aware, right? That situation aware. Okay.
Right.
You walked in the room Black. You registered for school Black. You probably gonna be Black tomorrow, and then when you graduate and they have to say Miss or Ma'am, you're still gonna be
right.
So
exactly.
when you roll all that together, you kind of say, okay, it is what it is. I kind of...
You didn't let that stop you or intimidate you.
Because when someone's holding you back, they're holding themselves back too. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You have an advocacy, but you have to know what you're complaining about. If you're complaining you didn't do your homework and you felt like you should have got a C and you got a D, well, reflect on, could you have studied a little better to get that D or C? Or right? Could you have done a little bit better? And then if you got to pull out the waiver card and say, oh man, I really messed up, can I get a do-over? Okay.
Right.
But then that puts you in a certain category too, because then that instructor or that person who's giving you a break is going to you always need that break. So it's you got to own it, right? I owned it. I didn't have the greatest grades, but I knew what I was talking about. I said, well, I may not be able to do, the aerodynamics behind this type of flying or this kind of aviation equipment or aviation venture, but I know sense and apply that when it's when it's convenient. So that was kind of it. In the Army, it's about following the rules and setting yourself apart. So if you don't want to do a bunch of, I enlisted rather than going in as an officer, but if you don't want to always be stuck with freaking kitchen duty or painting rock, raking, do what it takes to set yourself apart, right? And it's not about trying to boost my ego. I'm trying to get out of kitchen duty,
Right. That's funny. Right. You trying to level up. Right.
So running that 12-mile rucksack march, right?
Exactly. Trying to set yourself apart to where when you do that too, people look at that as, okay, this person doesn't mind taking on, we can trust Roz with this responsibility because you stepped up. That's another thing that they see. And a lot of times, and that can be applied in any field in life, when people see that you're not just trying to skate by, but you're willing, they feel like they can entrust.
Always trying to get the waiver. Always trying to get the waiver. Oh, what can I do to get that little extra? No, don't go for, go for the standard. Don't go for,
right. So, and pursuing that, and because as you were, now let me ask you this: while you were pursuing avionics and engineering and moving up, did you see other women as you was moving up, did you see other women that you could identify with? I mean, just in general, that were kind of moving the same direction, or were you primarily the only one that was breaking those barriers?
I was the only one coming to class.
Okay.
I was class, right? I was coming to class. And
Right.
I was doing what I needed to do
Mhm.
to not. So in the Army, following rules is just the way it is, right?
Yeah, right.
Rules, um, then you get rewarded, right? So
Right.
if that got me an extra pass,
Okay.
you know,
Right.
me to study a little bit more, to go to the Soldier of the Month board, Soldier of the Quarter board,
Mhm.
right? If
Mhm.
if that got me, okay, I'm gonna go to the club because I go to the club. I'm the queen of line dancing, but I'll go. Is gonna leave before midnight. Why?
Right.
These other
Right.
girls is gonna stay till 2 o'clock. So
Right.
I like that strategy. I like to. Okay, I gotta go. Right.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
because then you don't have the stigma. Oh wow, she closed down a club with so and so.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was just, maybe it was a level of maturity. Maybe the fact that I had a kid already at 22,
Mhm.
right? When I joined up,
Mhm.
I couldn't become an officer at the time. But
Mhm.
it was just your priorities change, and I wanted
Mhm.
fun, but I also knew there were some rules, right? And when you know the rules,
Right.
when you know the rules, just like math, if you know the rules, you know your right and left limits, you play the rules, you learn the rules, you execute the rules, and you go in there and then change the rules.
I love it. Love it. So when you look at the youth today, and a lot of young people, we see them getting in trouble. We see them doing takeovers, especially out here in Los Angeles. Um, you see them just getting, I mean, now we see them robbing stores, all kinds of chaos. Um, how do you think we can motivate them to take that same energy to go in the field of avionics or engineering, or just something just positive? Because a lot of stuff that they do in the streets can be applied to a various of fields, and particularly um, with aeronautics, with engineering, with maybe space. I mean, how what would you say to that group?
Okay, I appreciate that, Saundra, because this whole street takeover thing is just strange. But what I do know is that the same technical um, criteria it is to do this inertia and do all this spinning and to do
Mhm.
this with thrust, power, and gravity, with keeping yourself from flipping over. That's the same we use for space, for satellites, for launching, for drones.
Wow.
You use that same type of mentality. And what's amazing is that these kids are doing it faster than the math problems, right?
Really?
You learn how to do that and work those pedals and work that
Uh-huh.
ability to create that kind of centrifugal force and that inertia. Freaking join a couple of classes, learn the skill sets behind that, and do that, right? let's
Wow.
right.
That's amazing.
Let's get, yeah, let's get the satellite going at 17,500 miles an hour around the Earth, right?
Right. And that's even more of a rush, I would imagine.
Take that same energy, the smash and grab. That's very strategic, right?
Yeah.
That's some math associated with what's interesting.
They got to
Is
figure
that
out a time and how to get it down by a certain time
when you gotta understand, if you're gonna go smash and grab $1,500,
and get the car, thrust the car forward.
right? You gotta have a client who's willing to pay $2,000 for it, because eventually you're gonna have some lawyer bills.
Right.
if you're gonna
Absolutely.
if you're gonna
That's
grab, if kids are gonna smash and grab, and then take it back to 84th and Budlong, I
right.
that made sense, because now you're always going to be watching your back, right? Take that same and design a new kind of purse that you don't have to do it. I mean, I'd rather,
True.
personally, and my friends know this, I'd rather have a $30 purse with $300 in it than a $300 purse with $30 in it.
Exactly.
That's just
I agree. I concur.
target.
I totally concur. So that, and you know, and that's key, is being able to get in those spaces. Because now, do you do public speaking among the youth? Do you ever get a chance to go to different high schools and speak? Because, you know, maybe some kids that were planning to take down or take over, you know, happen to be there, and they're like, wait a minute, because I'm sure that would perk somebody's ears up. I mean, because even you explained to me, I never knew that that was the same mechanism that goes into lunch and rockets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when I was selected to come back out here, the last administration created the Space Force, right? There's the branches of service: Army, Navy, the Air Force, the Marines,
Right.
the Guard, and then there's the Space Force. The Space Force too. The difference between NASA and the Space Force is NASA is about space exploration, right? And it's about finding out what's out there in space, which is 100 kilometers up, 100 miles up, or 62 kilometers up, where things start to float, right? And if there's something unique up in space, in that area, whether it's asteroids or particle dust or things react differently in space than they do in your body, or in gravity and in your body. Those are scientific things that come back down. There's a lot of patents. I'm going to digress for a minute, but there are a lot of things that happen in the International Space Station or exploration of space that NASA brings back, and there are people that just watch the results, turn around, tweak it a little bit, go get a patent, and make millions. Right? Because that's what we do. And that's what I try to convince young people to do. Rather than sitting up there looking on your cell phone, know that that cell phone is linked to satellites that were launched, right? And there are people trying to hack those satellites. So while these young people are the consumers, if you will, of all this technology, being a consumer means you're expendable. That means that you're really that value added, right?
Right.
Learn to deep dive into that and find out how that works, why that works. What that does is now put you in the realm of possible, right? That puts you in the realm of, oh, I can figure this out. Or we have what the Space Force has, is what we call hackathons, and we encourage, you know, especially ones that are just eager to tear up. We encourage you to come into the programs and hack a satellite, right? We want to hack a satellite because it's better. That makes the United States of America a better country for capitalism. It makes it better for economics. It makes it so better for opportunity. So when young people and people our age too, or your age, when you can understand that, not be on the far end of being a consumer, but to be a part of what's happening, that us
to get involved.
Yeah, to understand. Yeah, go ahead and encourage your kids. Don't worry about trying to buy $200 Nikes. Go buy a $59.95 telescope, right? Figure out what's going on there, right? Download instead of downloading Candy Crush and all that kind of foolishness. Sorry, Candy Crush.
No. But
if you're not do that, go into the NASA website or NASA apps and find out all the things that they have been working on. They're up there, you know, they've been up there 20 plus years. Stuff is coming that we turn around, or people find out that that's what they did. They turn around and tweak it a little, because the course, you tweak it a little, go get a patent, make millions. These young people do all that. Just remember, the 8th graders right now will be the space operators in 5 years. They will be the 7th graders in 5 years.
Yes.
That now. Why not talk about that stuff now? They use it on their iPhones and Androids every single day. You know, every time ATM card, you're talking to a satellite. Every time we're talking through satellite.
Right.
And so I do talk to them about that. I tried my best to get them interested, and that's why when the last administration, hey, I want you to come out and, you know, do the legit space force. kind of a friend. I was like, oh, I'm going right back to South.
Right. So let me ask you, your first, what was the first rocket that you, or the first rocket, I'm just speaking layman terms, that you were responsible to seeing it go up? I mean, what was it and how was it? What was the feeling behind that? And like, when did that happen?
Right. All right, that's a fair question, right? Because it's almost like your baby, right? And I got enough of it.
Right, you're right.
Why baby finally leave the nest was amazing.
Right.
So a rocket has over 10,000 parts, right? And as a logistician, as that senior acquisition logistician, it's my responsibility to make sure those parts are what they call pedigree or the best. Okay. Because things that happen here on Earth, their component, their molecular structure may be different once it hits gravity, right? Or hits. There's no such thing as zero gravity. Who cares about that? It's my right. Once it hit those molecules and those things break apart. They do certain things. So it's a me, and I have, I don't know, lots of engineers that work with me, and those folks say, this goes through a lot of testing. Right. Pointing, some of it's not, but together, right? It's built and it gets ready. And my first one, heavy, which is I think the picture that you posted, and that was going very, very high. There's like 12 different orbits, if anybody really cares. A little trivia. And so it was going to an orbit and taking a big satellite. We have to have 100. We use rather than government buying and building rockets, we rocket Uber or rocket lift. So what we do is we have companies that bid on our certain payloads, and they say, okay, I can take that spacecraft or that satellite, I can take it up to whatever orbit you're asking for. I can have it inserted into the right inclination, at the right angle, at the right time, because you only got to do it, and successfully deploy, and then start your your iPhone. By the way, a black one asked for GPS. So that's
yes. Yes. That's Dr. Miss.
Right. My first baby. Well, United Launch Alliance, heavy, and so I was ready to go, and it was T-minus 3, and the engines, and it was a hot one, and it was heartbreaking, and I was, oh my God, you know what?
Okay, so wait a minute, can you repeat, because you kind of went in out a little. You said the engine, what happened? The engine?
So it was the engine, and the engines, then it didn't lift.
Okay. Wow.
Heartbreaking, because it looked back immediately on console or whatever, and I'm looking like, oh, what happened? Now, billion shows up on a screen, and it through, and it's green, turns yellow. You're like, oh, and so you kind of through it. And all you can do is do quality insurance and hope that that's not you. That's not a hardware issue, which is what I have hardware. Eventually, I got to watch my baby go, and all the boosters are spins. They push all the way up, right? Push. That's why it's so powerful. And, full of propellant, full of fuel that gets you up. It's like reverse building. To get all the way to space, and then it has to it spins all this fuel, and
Mm-hmm.
fall back to the earth. They have to fall back.
Mm-hmm.
All engineers calculate that
Mm-hmm.
all in a certain group. Or so those
Mm-hmm.
um, coral reefs. And,
Mm-hmm.
nice to see my baby leave.
Right.
Now,
I can imagine that being I mean, because that's a major accomplishment. You've actually have yeah, you're a trailblazer. And I mean, because yeah, I would say yeah, I would say I think you are, and I believe other people. I believe people on here think you are.
there's
It's not too many Roz out there. Not too many Roslyn, Roz, and Barbies out there. No.
all I, all I am is the old part, right? But I think I think going through those journeys, right, through the Army, through becoming a chief warrior, owning that being accountable for I one time I had 195 Blackhawks that I was responsible for. Avionics and electric.
195 Blackhawks?
690 Blackhawks was
695. I saw Black Hawk Down. I saw the movie. That's all I know. From Mogadishu. I remember that movie. 600.
That wasn't a hard word.
No. But so wait a minute. So you oversee or saw 695 Blackhawks?
Yeah, I was in the 100th Division Air Assault, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I was Black Hawk Fleet, and yeah, I mean,
well, my friend Amber agrees with me. She says you are a trailblazer. I agree, Amber. Yes, she is.
I'm just crossing bridges.
Yes. She says she hello. She represents. She says the stand queen. Okay. Okay. Come on now. Let's not play.
Yeah, but so we had that. We had armored Blackhawks. We had all that. So when there was any incident, they never want the incident to be human error. Right? So you don't want to blame. Right? So you gotta when it's on the hardware, you got it's on electronic systems, navigation systems, the rotor blades together. It's to be some. A lot of times, it's supposed to be communication, all the avionics from the head, from the tail, and so I had to own that. But I also had to being the only born officer and then a female. I was dog with lipstick, right? I'm own stuff. I also had to have the trust. A lot of sergeants and a lot of folks that I don't care if you like me or purple.
Right.
Have some integrity and everybody on the carpet.
Right.
And I'm getting ready to open up quality control because someone, a fellow soldier or fellow soldiers, or we just took out $1 million helicopter.
Okay. Hey. All right. Just for a moment. They're saying the sound is kind of choppy.
Sorry.
Let's see. Maybe I wonder is it because you're moving? Can you hear me clearly? Can you all hear me clearly? Can you hear Roz clearly? Hello, you guys. Can you hear Roz clearly?
Oh God, we've been sorry.
What time is it? Because I can't see the clock.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We're jamming.
Yeah. I can't see the time, so you have to let me know if we okay. So okay, it's choppy. AKA Dillard said that it's choppy. I can hear you, Saundra. Okay, it's choppy on Rod's. So I wonder, is it by you moving back and forth? Maybe. Okay. Can you? Okay, Ross, just continue and then.
Okay. Anyway, so space. I guess we can launching.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So space is turning into a multi-trillion-dollar, and it's very
it says you're choppy on your end. It's going in and out.
okay.
I can hear, but like it's some words are coming in and out. It's like
Okay.
it's a technical difficulty. I don't know what's up. I can hear you, but it's certain words go out. So just keep maybe. I don't wonder.
I'll try to maybe speak. So space is a $1 billion industry. It's moving. If you hear me on that one.
You know what? Maybe I'm wondering, should I like bring you back in? Maybe it wouldn't be as choppy.
I don't know.
Because I can hear it's like going in waves.
Oh, okay. I mean, mic is on. Okay.
Like I hear you right now when you say okay, but it's when you, I don't.
Can I talk? I'm sorry.
Just keep talking. She says make sure she's in the microphone.
I got it.
That's what AK Diller said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We just keep going.
So in space, so let's talk space for a minute. We have about 5,000 satellites circling the Earth. Every 90 minutes. 17,000 an hour.
So you have 5,000 satellites.
There are
in space.
Necessarily the U.S.
Just the U.S.
No, there are 5,000 satellites.
Oh, okay.
Circling
okay.
the Earth
okay.
at about 17,000 miles an hour.
Oh.
Yeah.
17,000 miles an hour?
17,500. And so satellites really go around like that. They fall around the Earth. So the Earth is turning all around the Earth.
Right.
It actually pulls you back. So they have to
right.
keep 17,500 an hour in order to stay there. Well,
so how do they not crash into each other?
So that's great, and that's what them launch, because we have to launch them into so that they gravity, right? They don't run into the other stuff. So there are all these different orbits, all these different kinds of satellites moving around. So it's incumbent on our team insert that satellite right orbit, the right angle, and when more stuff it becomes what we call shared space.
I'm listening.
Does that work?
Can you see me? Wait a minute. Hold on. Roz, can you see me?
I can.
You can. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead now.
So what anyway, launch is responsible for making sure that's putting up there, or the bunch of satellites that are there, it's the right space, the right information. It's not like, oh no, wait a minute, start all over. It has to be one kill every time.
Right.
So that's the hard part.
Okay.
Logistics has to be right for one time go.
Okay.
If we don't load propellant rocket, especially like Cape Canaveral, you could go, and then if it's not, you could take out Tampa. Let that happen. It's stuff like, kind of serious. Again, like I was talking before, when I was in the Army, you had to have because people could hurt.
Okay.